So I had some pretty tough challenges in my younger days, and when I was 16, I was just had started my first day of my job working at Palmer Hills Golf Course in the Quad Cities, and I had started as a maintenance person there. I was really excited about being able to play some golf as I was a young kid, and I just finished my first day of work, and I decided to go out and play with some of my friends. They picked me up. We went down to along the river underneath the 74 bridge, and we were playing on some lime piles down there, and there was a couple trains going by, and at the time we had been jumping on trains and riding them just for the thrill of it. And at this particular time I ran down to impress my friends, and I was running along the train. I went to grab the ladder, and as I went to grab the ladder, I grabbed it and realized the train was going too fast, and it yanked me off my feet. And so I, just out of instincts, I let go of the train and rolled away from it. And as I rolled away from it, I jumped up and I heard someone yelling at me, and so I immediately jumped up to run away. And as I jumped up, I fell back down, and I didn't realize what had happened to me. And then I had tried to jump up again and run away, and I looked down and realized that my right leg was about 15 yards away down the tracks, and my left leg was just hanging on by my pants. So one of my friends ran one way, and a couple of my friends ran the other way to try to get help. And obviously luckily the train engineer that saw it happen had already called 911. And so my friend that stayed with me was trying to keep me calm. The fire trucks, staff had to separate the train to get the ambulance to me, and then there was, all I remember was just tons of people around me getting me on the stretcher and getting me in the ambulance. And I remember the ride to the hospital very clearly when we were just I just remember flying through intersections and hearing the sirens, and I stayed conscious throughout the entire event, and remember being at the hospital, and my parents came, and real tough on my mom and dad seeing me there. And then that was when I got airlifted to Iowa City, where they did the surgery immediately and amputated my right leg above the knee and my left leg below the knee. It wasn't until after I woke up that I realized how close I was to actually dying. I lost twice the amount of blood in my body. I lost 22 pints of blood. And so I felt lucky to be alive, but obviously I woke up at 16 realizing that I didn't have any legs, and there was no way of ever going back, and I hoped it was a bad dream, and that I was going to wake up from it. And I realized soon that wasn't the case, and I was on a lot of pain medication for the first couple weeks, so I don't remember a lot from that, but I know that they got me up and I started physical therapy right away in order to keep the mobility in my lower limbs and to try to strengthen my upper body, because I realized that was the only thing that was going to keep me mobile the rest of my life. So the way I got into sled hockey was I actually started playing wheelchair basketball about 6 months after my accident. I decided that I needed to stay competitive and continue to do things that were going to help me stay in shape, and I didn't want to be sitting around as a 16-year-old boy. That's really tough to not be able to be competitive. And so wheelchair basketball gave me that outlet. I knew there was a local program in our community, and so I joined them and realized quickly that there's lots of other people out there with disabilities that are athletes that are still doing big things and really being competitive. So I played for a couple different teams in the area. Played for a team in Peoria, and I played for a team in Rochester. The team in Rochester, we actually went on to 2 different national championships, and we got 3rd in the country in 2003. And after that is when I decided that I really needed to try a different sport and see what else was out there. And so naturally, playing hockey as when I was young, I realized that I really wanted to get back on the ice. So I went down and tried to sled hockey in the local community program, and just fell in love immediately with it. It was just so great being back on the ice and feeling that the breeze blowing through your hair and nice and cool ice. It was just awesome to be out there. And after that, I decided that I really needed to try to play somewhere competitively, and the Chicago Blackhawks sponsor a sled hockey program in Chicago that's known as one of the best club programs in the country. So I started driving up there every Saturday for practice. We practiced from 11 o'clock at night till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I would drive back to the Quad Cities and get home about 6 in the morning. So it took a lot of patience and a lot to drive up there every week, but it was well worth it. So the way I got into the Paralympics was in 2003. I tried out for my first U.S. team, and I made the team. It was really a pretty special time. I got to go to my first Olympic training center and check it out and be around other athletes that were training, at an international level, and so it was incredible to see and just a great place to be. And so I made the team that year, and I realized that it was incredible to be able to travel on somebody else's dime, to play a sport that I loved, and to be with guys that I considered to be family. So it was really a special experience. And then after that, I was hooked, and I went to my first Paralympic Games in 2006 the next year, which was in Torino, Italy. We started out with a goal of gold, and it really was difficult because we ended up with a bronze medal after that first Games. And that bronze medal actually was a driving force for me going on to compete in my second Paralympics, and ended up moving and going to a professional trainer, and the result was a gold medal in Vancouver in my second Paralympics. After that, I retired from the sport after I had my first child, and a couple years later I decided to go back and go to another Paralympics in Sochi, Russia, and we walked away with my second gold medal for that Paralympics. These littles need our support, just like people supported me through my adversity. These littles are also in the same position where they need mentors and they need community support in order to help them become great human beings.